In this video, I'll show you how to build your first WordPress website. My name is Jake, and together, I'll take you all the way from finding the right platform for your website, to hosting your site, to selecting a domain name, to building your WordPress website today. Why use WordPress? As a professional content creator, I've been using WordPress to publish content for years. But don't just take my word for it. WordPress powers an astonishing 43% of all websites across the world. 43%! It was, and still is, the best choice for me for a bunch of reasons. The number one reason I love it is that WordPress.org is an open source platform that means that you own your content. That might sound like a given, but many platforms like Wix, Webflow, and Squarespace, to name a few, are built on closed environments. So let's say, if one day you outgrow that platform and want to move your content to a different platform, you'll likely have to rebuild your website from scratch. But with WordPress, if, for example, at some point down the line you want to change your hosting provider, you can move your website and content without restrictions. For this video, I'll be using Elementor hosting for WordPress. It's the fastest and safest way to get your first WordPress website off the ground. I'll talk more about it when we go to our next topic, hosting. So, what's hosting? Basically, it's like renting space in a building, but instead, this space is reserved for your website's media and content on the web. It's hard to believe, but there are still some hosting companies, and I'll call them old world, where you need to install WordPress, then install SSL, which adds a layer of security to your website, and then add other services. Now, some hosting companies will install them for you, but there may be a hidden fee or extra cost along the way. Luckily, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be using a new world method, which is perfect for WordPress beginners. Elementor hosting for WordPress. Elementor hosting comes with everything you need for your website pre-installed. You'll see what I'm talking about once we get started creating our first WordPress website. Designing your website. WordPress requires every website to have a theme. Themes control the look and feel of your WordPress website. There are thousands of themes available from the WordPress repository, and you have options for both free and paid themes. But after downloading a theme, people are often disappointed to find that their website doesn't look anything like the preview or how they imagined it. Customizing a theme can be complicated, and this is why page builders emerged. A page builder offers more design control and flexibility when creating your site. Page builders generally have a drag and drop feature, making building your website more intuitive and visual without the need for code. Some page builders, such as Elementor Pro, give you even more control by letting you design every single part of your website. This includes some parts you may already know about, such as headers and footers. We'll be using Elementor hosting for WordPress, which already comes with the Elementor Pro page builder pre-installed. So that's perfect for us. SEO and traffic. The next step is to add content to your website. I suggest either searching Google to see what people are looking for, or using different tools for keyword research, depending on your website topic. To get more traffic, you'll need to start adding content to your website ASAP. The quicker you can add your content, the faster search engines can index your website for search results. You should also make sure to add relevant SEO-friendly content. SEO is short for search engine optimization. WordPress has lots of SEO plugins to choose from, like Yoast, Rank Math, and more to help boost your content rankings. Elementor integrates perfectly with popular WordPress SEO plugins, so we're good to go. Plugins and features. So, what is a plugin anyway? WordPress plugins extend the functionality of a WordPress website and add new capabilities. There are plugins for backups, security, performance, forms, pop-ups, and so many more. Using Elementor hosting for WordPress together with Elementor Pro plugin covers all these other plugins and more. Fewer plugins means less time and energy wasted on managing your plugins and worrying about plugin compatibility. Elementor has us covered. How to grow your business. Thinking ahead, once you have a website up and running, you'll need to consider how to expand your reach across social platforms like YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook to lead visitors to your website. This will help increase your traffic, brand awareness, and grow your business. You can also monetize your website's traffic by placing ads on your WordPress website. You can become an affiliate or even a sponsor, depending on how much traffic you bring in. Right, now that we've got a plan, let's get your website up and running. After going through the purchase process, we can get straight to work on our website. We'll name it Reborn. This is a temporary domain name provided by Elementor Hosting, which we can use until we're ready to connect our own domain. I'll show you how to do this later in the course. Let's get a head start on our website by searching for a website kit. Here, in the Elementor Kit library, you'll find beautiful and elegant designs as well as functional kits for almost any type of website. Today, we'll be building a website for a social media consultant. Our company needs a homepage, about page, contact page, and a gallery to display their projects. Before designing or looking for inspiration for your website, you should know which pages you'll need. It's best to plan ahead, and I recommend you writing it down. It will help you stay focused while looking for ideas. Let's click View Demo and take a closer look at this wedding kit. This design for a wedding photographer is quite sophisticated. There's a home page, a gallery page, and an about page. That's almost exactly what we need. And kind words is a testimonial page. Amazing. And coverage. Let's take a look at that. And a contact page. That's great. Okay, let's scroll down. The kit's use of images is perfect. Let's take a look at the portfolio. Clearly, you have a lot of pictures of their clients, which is exactly what we need. You can see what it looks like on mobile too. I'll apply this kit. And I'll apply all so I can use everything in the kit. I love to be inspired by others' content, the way they use colors, typography, and imagery. I'll share a little secret with you. All designers look for inspiration for their projects. No one starts off with a blank canvas. That's why I use a kit that is ready for a business that is similar to ours rather than a wireframe kit. Okay, our kit is now live on our website. Let's take a look. Fantastic! You can see that it came with all the assets and all the copy. Like I said earlier, I love to be inspired by these kinds of work so I know what direction to take. You don't have to worry if this color isn't your brand style. We'll come back to that later, and I'll show you a trick on how to fully customize your kit to your own brand language by changing just a few settings. But first, we'll go back to the WordPress dashboard and learn about the essentials of WordPress. Here's a quick link to Elementor customer support if you need help or have any questions for WordPress Elementor experts. We've got the top bar here. It has the website name, and clicking it and holding the Command or Control key opens it in a new tab. But we will return to our dashboard. Here you can see the comment section. Add new, which can be a post, page, media, etc. Site lock mode. Here's a howdy for my user, and only I can see this when I'm logged in. You'll see extra controls on this top bar if you're on a different page than the dashboard, as you can see here. You have Customize, Edit Page, and Edit with Elementor. Let's continue with some basics. Here's the tab where you can see all your posts or add new ones. Clicking here will take you to your media library to add new media assets, pages, comments, all the Elementor settings, templates, saved templates, and the theme builder. By the way, if you decide you want to use a different kit, you can remove this one and browse for a new kit through the kit library using this link. So you have appearance, themes, plugins, users, tools and settings, and if you add more plugins, their controls will show up on the left here. Okay, let's start with pages. All of our pages that came with the kit are listed here. If you hover over on the title of a page, you will see the link to edit with Elementor and a drop-down with more options such as Preview, Duplicate Page, Rename Page, Page Settings, Set as Homepage, Edit with WordPress, and Trash to delete the page. To add a new page, click Add New here on top of the page. You can add a title. Let's name it Demo Page. Click Save. And now we've landed a blank page with a canvas that we can build upon. You can start dragging and dropping elements to build your website. But first, let's talk about WordPress and the differences between pages and posts. I'll first exit the editor by clicking this icon and selecting Exit. Great. Consider pages as your static content that you don't change very often. This might be, for instance, your About page or Services page, and is regarded as a permanent item. Posts, on the other hand, are articles added regularly to your blog. This type of content helps to drive more traffic to your website via search and social media. This kit didn't add any posts, but there are some kits that will. Let's click to add a new post. We can add a title, and we can add a featured image as well. The title and the featured image will be displayed on your archive pages, as well as on your single post pages. You can assign them certain categories, create tags, and write an excerpt. An excerpt is a small summary of your article page. This is important for search engines and lets your visitors know what they're about to read. When you're done, you click to publish. You can populate your content using the more basic WordPress block editor, named Gutenberg, using a paragraph, a heading, an image, a gallery, and so on. Or you can start editing with Elementor for a more customizable post. It's completely up to you. Let's return to our pages. Next, as promised, I'll show you how to make this kit your own. Let's go back to Pages and edit the demo page we created earlier. Click Edit with Elementor. I want to show you a few basics about Elementor. If you're wondering why, since we're planning to use a pre-built kit anyway, the reason is that the kits in the library have been designed and developed by professional designers and developers. And, as a beginner, it's beneficial to first gain some experience building and editing with Elementor. This will help you better understand the techniques and processes used to create these stunning designs. First of all, everything sits in a container. You can build the complete page in a single container or divide it into many containers. So I'll add a container either by dragging or dropping it here from the widget panel. And by the way, you can delete it by clicking the delete icon on the handle, or by clicking the plus icon and selecting a structure. This indicates that this is a single container and the column direction. So whatever widgets we're planning to place inside, no matter how many of them, will be positioned vertically. Whereas if I choose this one, the direction is row, and the items will be placed next to each other horizontally. This one will give you two columns equally divided, and you get the idea. So let's start with this one. If you choose a vertical column, but if you change your mind and want to change the item's direction, you can always change it here. We'll come back to that later. Content width boxed means that no matter the width of any item you place inside your container, it will always take up the size you specify here. So here it is, 1700. It means that the container width will always have a width of 1700 pixels, regardless of your desktop screen size. If you change it to full width by using this drop-down selector, it automatically sets it to 100% of the viewport width. This means your content in this container will take up to 100% of the screen's width. So even if you reduce it to 80%, for example, it will always fill that 80% of the width, depending on the screen size. I will set it to full width, 100% for now, and here's the minimum height setting. So, what is it exactly? It's the minimum height that your container will occupy on the page when it has items inside. When the items exceed this height, the container will expand vertically to accommodate the whole content. You can set it using the slider or give it a specific numeric value using this box. And change the measurement unit if you want to using the drop-down selector next to the unit indication above the box. Well, that's it for the containers overview. Let's play with this a little and explore the Style tab. Here, you can choose a background type from Classic, Gradient, Video, or Slideshow. You can add a color or change the background by setting a color using the color picker through here. Or you could add an image. You can upload a file from your computer, or you can select one from the media library. By default, the image is repeating itself to fill the container. I'll set the image to No Repeat. The random image that we picked is actually smaller than the container, so it sits in the top left corner of the container. If we want, we can change the position by selecting a position from here. I'll set it to center, for instance. And also, if we want this image to cover all the space in the container, we will choose the display size and set it to cover. I added an image to show you how to add a background image to a container, so I'll go ahead and delete that and start populating it with widgets. So let's start with the most basic widget, which is the heading widget. The default heading text comes with a specific color and font settings, as you can see here. This is coming from the preset global settings of this kit, and soon I'll show you how to change that. You might have noticed with the container as well that each widget comes with 3 tabs. The first one is the Content tab, where we can change the widget content. In this heading widget, it's the text content, but in other widgets, it might be an image, video, icon, or both. So let's look at it together. This is our first headline. If you want to link this heading to a specific URL, you can type the URL here so your visitors can be directed to the URL once they click on the heading. You can change the HTML tag. HTML tags are important for the hierarchy of your content on the page. The hierarchical structure of your content is important for the search engine optimization, or SEO, of your website. You can also change the alignment here. In the Style tab, you can change the color. You can choose one of the global colors that was set earlier using this global globe icon, or you can set a completely different color using this color wheel. I'll change it back to black. This also works for the typography settings too. You can choose one of the typography settings we set earlier in the global styles, again using the globe icon. Or you can change it to a completely different font family by choosing one from the Google Fonts library built in. You can change the size, adjust the weight, give a line height. By the way, keep in mind that when this globe icon is colored, it means that one of the global settings is active. There are other styling settings available, such as text stroke, text shadow, or blend mode. It's not necessary to get into detail on that right now, we're just learning the basics here. And then finally, we have the Advanced tab. Let's go over the options quickly. Here, we can control the spacing around our widgets. Margin controls the space outside the widget, and padding controls the spacing inside the widget element. This thin line defines the widget's boundary. But to demonstrate it better for you, I'm going to add a border by expanding this tab. Set border type solid, border width 2 to make it stand out, and for color, we will set the primary. If I go back to Layout tab, you can see that if I increase the margin, it pushes the widget from both sides. But if I increase the padding, it adds spacing around the content. Let's undo this. I'll click the container by selecting the handle of the container. So, if for example I add 50 pixels of padding, you can see that this heading widget is pushed 50 pixels from the sides. And if I want to only change the top padding to 150, I can unlink the values here and type the exact value that I want to in the relevant area. In this case, padding top. Let's move on and drag in the text editor widget. Here, you have basically the same controls as in the heading widget. This is designed for longer body text. I'll just copy and paste this text multiple times to have longer text to work with visually. That seems to be enough for now. You can display it in multiple columns or even 3. Maybe you noticed earlier, certain controls have this small desktop icon. This means that you can change the settings according to your display size. You can display 2 columns on your tablet, and for your mobile, you can choose to display only 1. For styling, you have similar options as the heading widget. Let's check out the button widget. We'll drag it in. As you can see, the button widget came with the pre-made settings in this kit, including the global styles we made earlier. Let's change our button text to Discover More, for example. The longer the button text is, the larger our button gets. Here, we can add the URL, and if you want to add a link to a page within the website, type the title of the page. You can see that as I type, the relevant options appear down here. Or you can simply paste an external link. We can change the alignment of the button here. Change the size, medium, large, or extra large. If we go with large, for example, you can see that you have more space on top and bottom. You can add an icon using the rich icon library or upload your own. Then choose the icon position. It can be displayed before or after the text. And you control the spacing between the icon and text. On the Style tab, you have more options than the previous widgets I showed earlier. There are normal and hover states of the button, and even ability to add an engaging hover animation. One last thing, let's click to get back to the container. I'll remove the padding we gave earlier to show it more clearly. We can justify everything vertically to the center by clicking here, or we might want to justify it to the end. Space between will push the first and last content to the edges of the container. Space around will distribute the remaining white space equally, in a way to set equal space to top and bottom of all items inside. And space evenly will add spacing around on elements in a way that adds spaces between each item, on top of the first item and on the bottom of the last item would be equal. We can also align items horizontally to start, center, end, or stretch. For now, we will justify content center and align items to the start. You can also set the gap between the elements in the container like so, or by giving an exact value here. Finally, if you decide to display your elements horizontally rather than vertically, you can go back and change it at any time. And the wrap option helps us here to organize it easily. So this is our introduction to building with Elementor. There are more complex widgets, but the logic of using them is the same. We'll review them as we work with our kit. Now, let's head back to Pages and see how to make this kit our own. Taking a second look at our kit, you may think this is totally different branding for your site or business. And that's okay. I'll show you how to change it. Most of the colors are set in the global styles we talked about earlier. I will show you a trick to make it easier. As we saw earlier, while we were going over the basic widgets and their stylings, they can be changed individually as you design all the elements on your website or on a higher level in site settings. We'll do it right now. So let's return to the dashboard, and from Pages, I will go to the Global Styles page. Each kit comes with a Global Style page. The Global Styles page gives us all the colors and typography settings. So you will see that it is used throughout the kit that we are using, and it's customizable. As you change it, you'll see how it affects all the places the specific setting is used. You can even see how the menus are styled. You can copy and paste the style. It's a very functional page. It's really great. But let's first change the colors. Our social media consultant business owner is young and energetic, so we want our website to show that. We'll take this website from a neutral tone to a more vibrant tone with the colors and typography settings soon. Go to Site Settings, click on Global Colors, and as you can see, these names match the names that appear here, and the colors also match as well. So if I would change the background color 1, for example, to pink, you will see that it will be reflected here. Awesome, right? So I'll use another color for this secondary background color. Let's do this. On every website you'll ever build, black, white, and transparent will always be useful, so I highly recommend keeping them. Moving on to borders. In this case, the grey color isn't really what we need. Let's select another vibrant color for this. Lilac. Now, I don't need an FAQ section on my website, but I would like to add another border color. Orange. Great. Next, I'll change the primary, secondary, and body text. The primary text. Let's change it to charcoal, which is very close to black. And I will use the same color as my secondary. My body text color will be just a little smoother than my primary and secondary colors, and my accent color will be the same as well. I'll update it and move on to the global fonts. Although these global fonts used in the kit look okay, we want to add a little playfulness. We want to keep the fonts elegant because we're a premium service, but our target audience is young and outgoing. That's why I'm going to use a font family that is more playful. So I'm going with Bangers font. Let's make it 60 pixels, line height 65 pixels. I'll set the letter spacing to 4. Okay, you can see it changed here. Great. Next, let's set the secondary headline. I want to use another elegant font family, Playfair Display. I'll leave the size at 1.5 viewport width. And I'll set the weight to medium because I want it to be bolder. Next, I'll reduce the spacing a bit to 4. As you can see, they got closer. Let's now change the body text to Playfair Display as well. I'll keep the size and the other settings. Next, the accent text. It's italic, and I like that it is, but I'm going to change it to Playfair Display 2 just to be consistent. And I'll reduce the letter spacing to 4 again. Next, we have custom fonts. We have a hero headline, which is used on the homepage in the hero section. As you can see, this is the Italiana font, but I'll change it to Bangers. Let's also increase its size to 230 pixels. I will keep the letter spacing as is, since the font size is bigger. It can accommodate a wider space between the letters. Next, the subtitle. I will change it to Playfair Display and change the weight to medium. Now, the captions. Again, Playfair Display, nav menu, Playfair Display 2. Next, testimonial names. I want this to be playful too, so I will change it to Bangers. I will reduce the letter spacing to 1.5. Awesome. And lastly, the copyright text to Playfair Display font. And we'll make the letter spacing smaller. Alright, are you ready to see the updated homepage? Click to return to the editor. Now click Exit and head back to the WordPress dashboard. Click the link to view the front end of our website and ta-da! As you can see, all the fonts and colors have been changed already. Awesome! We can see that some parts are not styled using the global settings, and that's why this one is still grey. But as you can see, everything else has changed. Now we just have to change our content. So click Edit with Elementor to start editing our homepage. Okay, like I said earlier, the kits in the kit library are designed and built by professional designers and web developers. They sometimes use widgets unconventionally. As an example, here, instead of using a heading widget, our title is displayed in the icon box widget. Developers might do that because they have more control over styling. So I totally get it. And don't worry about it. As we go along, you'll learn how to use these workarounds yourself. Another tool I really like to use is the navigator. It's really useful for finding elements on the page. You can even position it by dragging it around or attach it to the right edge of the canvas, but I would like to use it unattached, keeping my workspace wide. Reborn. And the studio's main business is personal branding. Let's change the photo as well. Clicking on the image opens its settings. Next, I'll click to Change Image, and this will direct me to my media library. Here, I can upload my own files. What I always prefer to do is upload all of my files at once. Okay, let's go with this one. The designer did a great job with this kit. All I have to do here is change the images. That's it. Maybe I'll make this image a little bit bigger. What if I try 100? Ooh, that's too much. Let's try 75%. Even 70%? Okay, that's it. Moving on, here's our business bio section. Let's edit this heading widget to display her name, Zoe Nisha Jones. She's a London-based social media consultant. I'll add some about me text here. Let's change the image here as well. We can use this one. Here we can see that the color is grey, so it's not from our global settings. Let's see where it's coming from. As you can see, box shadow is activated. How did I know? You can tell it's active because the pencil icon is colored. The box shadow effect doesn't have the global styles option, so I'll just paste the hex code here instead. Let's use a purple. There, done. Here we'll display our most successful clients. Let's see, I want to add a small tagline here. Instead of recent weddings, I like to call it, "It's all about finding the real you." And you know what I'll do? I'll break this into 2 lines of text. So one option to do this is to increase the margins from the sides, like so. But that's bad practice. Instead, under the Advanced tab, you'll find the Width setting. Default takes up the whole space. Inline will only use the exact amount of space the widget needs to take, and Custom will let you define your own width. So I'll try 40%, or more, 45. I like it, but I want to center it. So I'll click Align Itself to center. Now it's just how I wanted it. This section shows an image of a couple, their initials and wedding dates. Let's tweak it and make it our own. But first, can you see the cool on hover effect? This is the Flipbox widget. The Flipbox widget lets you add content to the front and the back. Here, there's no title and description, and we can see that the image is embedded in the background. Let me remove it and add an image of a client, like so. And this text is coming from the back. Let's change it. Our client's name is Sophie Norberg, and she's a backpacker with a lot of followers. Finally, if I want to change this background color to orange, for example, I can do it here. Now I want to separate the traveler and the followers into 2 separate lines. So I'll click the Style tab, and under Back, I'll increase the padding values from both sides. I'll change it to percentage. Let's try 26%. Great. Now the number of followers is on the second line. We've already made this one our own. The best way to edit the other 2 is to delete them. Yes, do it. Don't worry. You'll now see that the one is taking the whole space. But let's right-click, duplicate. Now we already have all of our style here, and all we have to do is update the content. That's a workflow I use a lot. Let's choose another image. This one is a good representative of a digital nomad. Let's choose another image, a singer and a ukulele player. Her account name is Joy Sings. She's an amateur musician with lots of followers. Now, to our last section, kind words, I'll keep it as is and only update the names and the text like so. This is the testimonial widget, where we can write the testimonial text, the name, and choose an image. We can change the image position to be on top of the name or beside it. Change the alignment, or remove the images entirely. The next section, well, we don't really need it, so let's delete it. We are working with individuals and we're already featuring them here. Next, the Get in Touch. Let's change it from Roberta to Zoe. Also, let's change her image here to this one. Now, change the display size to cover and the position to top center. So, now that we're done building our homepage and learned about the basics of working with Elementor, we can move on to editing our header and footer. I can go ahead and edit the header by clicking directly here, or I can go to the setting and click the theme builder. It's faster to click on the header, but let's take the long way so I can show you the theme builder. So here's the theme builder. You can see all the site parts that came with the kit that we installed. We already have a 404 page, header, and footer. We also see that this kit didn't come with a single post template or a single page template or an archive. So let's start with the header template. As you can see in the preview, our updated typography and colors have already been incorporated. Click Edit here, and let's begin editing our header. So here we are in our header. I want to change the color in this container from gray to white to make it more on brand. Also, I would like to add a border, so I'll choose border type solid. With 1 pixel width and color, I'll select from the global colors black, our primary color. Great. Next, what's inside our header? Here is an icon list that displays the phone number, email address, and official address. I'll return to make some changes later. Let's start with the site identity. Because we haven't uploaded our own logo yet, we see this default one. We can change the site logo by clicking this button, and it will take us to Site Identity. Another way to get to site identity is to click here in the hamburger menu and then go to Site Settings. And under Settings, you'll see the site identity. You can update your site logo by choosing an image from the image library or uploading your own. We don't have a logo yet, but the kit we're using comes with some. For demonstration purposes, I'll use this one. You can also choose a favicon to appear on the browser tab handle. I'll click Update and return to the editor. You can see that our logo is here. You can change the width, and because this is an SVG file, you can increase its size as much as you like and the image won't lose quality. Alright, let's remove this. Another option is using our site title instead of a site logo. Let's drag it in. As you can see, the site title already matches our branding just like we set it earlier. You can, of course, change the size to smaller, reduce the spacing. Now, under Content, the link is set to the site URL. That means every time a visitor clicks on it, they'll be directed to the home page. Okay, next we have the menu that displays links to pages on our website. The primary menu is selected. To edit it, click here. Now we can see which pages are under the primary menu. In this drop-down, you can select pre-made menus, or you can click here to create a new one. We'll give it a name. Let's name it Demo Menu. And you can select the display location here. And if you check this, you agree to auto-add pages once a new page is created in WordPress. So I won't select any of those, and I'll click Create Menu. Next, I'll choose which pages to put in my menu. I'll switch to View All Pages, and let's choose the Home page, Contact, Gallery, and Kind Words. I don't want anyone seeing the Global Styles page. Okay, I'll click Add to Menu, and there they are. The items can be rearranged simply by dragging and dropping them. I want the Contact page to be at the bottom, and Kind Words to appear before the Contact page. You can also create sub-menu items by dragging them just a little to the right, like so. I'll move it back for now. I just want to quickly review all the options here. If you have posts, you will see them here. You can add them directly to your menu. You can do the same with categories. Once you have a category, you can add it to the menu. It's also possible to create a custom link for an external link, for example. Just type a URL, customurl.com, and add text, external. This is an example URL, of course. As you can see, the item external is added to our menu, and we have an indication that it's a custom link. In order to remove an item, you just expand it by clicking the down arrow and clicking Remove. I'll change the text here to Portfolio. Once you have your menu, click here to save it. And again, if you want to edit an existing menu, select it from the drop-down and click Select to start editing it. Change the text to Portfolio once more. By the way, you can also access your menus from the WordPress dashboard under Appearance, Menus. If you recall, we got to the menu via the Elementor editor. So let's return to editing our header with the primary menu selected. And by the way, if I refresh this page, you will see that our example menu is there too, but I'll stick to our primary menu. Let's return to editing our contact details. Alright, let's start with our number. Of course, this is a made-up number, and the email address and the location. Great. Okay, time to talk about dynamic links. See this wrench icon where it says Contact URL? Let me delete it. When you click a phone number, especially on your mobile phone, your phone will call that number. To do this, all you need to do is click the barrel logo here, the dynamic tags, and under Actions, find Contact URL. Next, click the wrench icon, and from the drop-down, choose Tell, and type in or paste in your phone number. And if you want your contacts to be contacted from abroad, add the country code as well. Now, let's talk about the email. You can do the same, but this time under Type, instead of Tell, choose Email. Type or paste in your email address here. Once the user clicks the link, it will open his or her email provider and create a new email with your address pre-populated in the To field. Also, you can add a subject line and message that will be pre-populated for the user, so it will look professional. And finally, the same goes for your address. If you want your site visitors to find you by clicking this link, you can select Ways and paste the address here. And once the visitor clicks the link, the app will automatically open and direct them to this address. That's it. Lastly, the social icons. I'll click to edit them. You can add more social icons if you want. Let's try TikTok, for example. Cool. You can change the colors and size through the Style tab. But I will keep it as is. Once you've set your icons, paste the links to your social media accounts here. So when a visitor clicks on a link, they'll be redirected to your social accounts pages. And that's the header. There are a few more pages to edit, but I'm stopping here to keep this video under 1 hour. You can apply everything we've learned so far and keep editing your website on your own. I'm sure you'll find answers to any questions you have in what we've done so far. Be confident you can do it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel and click the bell to be notified when I upload my next video. You don't want to miss it. See you soon!